Hi. Okay. So the gradual release of responsibility and Canborn's conditions for learning are similar in that they both need engagement. So in scaffolding with students, such as in the gradual release of responsibility, engagement is necessary to get the student involved in learning. Students will not participate in I do, we do, you do if they're not engaged. Camborne's conditions for learning is also largely centered on engagement. Um, it specifies that engagement occurs when the learner is convinced that he or she is a potential doer or performer of the demonstration. This ties in directly with the framework of the gradual release of responsibility. Responsibility is another thing that the gradual release of responsibility and Camborne's conditions for learning have in common. In the gradual release, students are gradually given more responsibility and work to complete on their own, whereas in Camborne's responsibility begins when learners need to make their own decisions about what to learn in any learning task. Both models mention the importance of responsibility. These models build on Vygotsky's theory of proximal development. The theory states that it is the difference between what a learner can do with or without the teacher's help. It ties into the gradual release of responsibility because it involves the student completing work on his own as well as responsibility and engagement. Camborne's conditions also builds on this because of the elements that it includes, such as responsibility and engagement. The zone of proximal development the zone of proximal development mentions different zones for each student's learning ability, and also that if a task is too difficult for that student, then the student is not in the zone of proximal development. It goes for the same if a task is too boring. Students will not be interested. All of this relates to the two models discussed today, and these models build on Vygotsky's theory because they include many of the theory's main focuses. A question I had is, how often should the gradual release of responsibility and Camborne's conditions for learning be used in the classroom? I'm in a 5th grade classroom, and I was thinking, do you use gradual release of responsibility every lesson, or do you decide on specific lessons which ones you want to use the gradual release of responsibility on, as well as for Camborne's conditions of learning? What is a good, or how often should these two models be implemented?